I mean, that's quite a good line. I mean, it's unusual. I do find Starmer sort of quite unbearable to listen to, I have to say.
It was pretty good today.
He's pretty
certainly
good. So
bested
not a
Sunak.
plan, calling it a farce. Yeah, exactly. And Sunak can come back with good, good retorts. At the end of the day, even the rebels who want to tighten up the Rwanda bill were trying with his amendments. There's 60 rebels yesterday, and we'll see what happens today. Even they and the people who were saying they support the government and the bill as it stands, I don't think anyone honestly really believes this is going to make a blind bit of difference to the number of people who are coming over the channel. So even this totemic Rwanda bill and Rwanda policy isn't really going to change anything. This is a good thing for Keir Starmer to point out. However, it's fair for Sunak to point, what is the Labour alternative?
Yeah, well, there isn't really a Labour alternative.
Well, other than welcoming them all with tea and cake.
But they also kind of don't need one at the moment because Rishi Sunak and the Conservative Party is tearing itself apart on this. Yeah. I think it'll be really interesting to see how many of those, first of all, 60-odd Conservative MPs, different people voted for different amendments yesterday, will actually vote against this today. As someone said to me in Parliament yesterday, quite a senior Conservative said, well, actually, hold on, they're trying to strengthen it, so why would they vote against it? It'll be very interesting. We've got about 14, 15 people, depending on who you believe, who say they're going to vote against it. Unless that gets up into the 30s, Rishi Sunak's okay.
Significant. Yeah, I mean, again, he given their working majority of 54, the Tory party.
Yes.
It's a long way from the 80 majority they won. Of course, it's always lower than that again with working majority.
Well, so many by-elections I can barely keep up.
And independence.
Two on the cards at the moment. Independence, losing the whip, all the rest of it. It really has gone down significantly.
It's been a busy few years.
Certainly has.
We were here for most of it. But yeah, you'd have to have a much bigger rebellion for it to make a difference. Yeah. And that would be existential. But again, it's that strange thing where if he lost that vote, Rishi Sunak, he was defeated, that would be cataclysmic for his premiership. But winning it doesn't really change it.
Well, exactly. Winning it is just getting to the next stage, the next headache, which is the House of Lords. But as you say, losing it, well, that hasn't happened at this particular stage in the parliamentary process called third reading. Hasn't happened since 1977 to a government. And then you'd be off to the races in terms of no confidence votes and all the rest of it. So this is crucial.
But it's still got to go to the House of Lords. So we know they are literally waiting to tear this bill apart. We've got a load of, former lawyers, judges, the human rights, bleeding hearters, even on the Tory side, not just on Labour and Lib side. And the Tories don't have a majority in the House of Lords. So even if it goes through as is right now or is strengthened, goes to the House of Lords, they're going to
many problems.
They're going to tear it apart.
To say nothing of Sir Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, who will have quite a lot to say on this as well.
Yeah, I thought the last time he was just going to take all of the Channel migrants in to live at Lambeth Palace. No.
I don't think that actually happened. Weirdly,
so difficult to keep up with his views on these things. In terms of where the two parties stand right now, we had that poll on Monday from the Telegraph. Really damning poll suggesting an absolute electoral wipeout for the Tories. Now, I was a news reporter at the time in 1997, the last time we saw that sort of level of wipeout, covering Tatton, which was where Martin Bell was standing against Neil Hamilton's an iconic election, and very exciting it was too. And there was just this sort of wave of support for Tony Blair. Now, if you actually look at the polls, half the country was very happy, half the country wasn't. But what is really interesting here is there is a wave of anger and disappointment in the Tories. I do not detect, even in some of my sort of really strong Labour-supporting friends and family, a big sort of thought like, can't wait to have Keir Starmer and Labour in. They're going to do such a magnificent job. It's going to be, I can't wait for all that to happen. I've just not seen that at all.
Yeah, in terms of that poll, there's been quite a bit of distancing from it and quite a few questions about where the money's come from it and so on. David Frost's organisation, they've been very transparent about that. But certainly there are questions, and even YouGov has slightly distanced himself from it. So it's a really interesting one. It has absolutely coloured what's happening in Westminster this week, no doubt about that. But interesting as well when you look at Keir Starmer's personal ratings, which are going up. People get to know him a little bit better. His personal ratings, for example, in Rishi Sunak's constituency of Richmond in Yorkshire are actually higher than Rishi Sunak's, which is a big blow to him personally as well. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of very interesting bits. But no, there's no great messianic zeal and there's no love really for Keir Starmer in the way that there was for Tony Blair.
No, indeed. What do you think's going to happen today? We've got 6 hours... Another 6 hours. 6 hours of debate.
Well, up to 6 hours on the amendments. Okay. Then another hour on the bill itself.
Oh, for the love of
God. So we've got the pajama drama. We've got the judges who can, these sort of pajama injunctions.
Yeah.
That's being debated for most of the afternoon. Then we've got the actual bill itself. So yeah, it's going to be relatively late night in Parliament, up until sort of 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, something like that. Not the
Hey, that's not late.
not
It
the
used to
really
be
late
1 in
ones.
the
Well,
morning.
yeah, well, indeed.
In my day, it used to be much later than that.
Back in the day.
Yeah,
so,
OK, then we're going to have the vote. But the general prediction seems to be, as you said, that actually the government's going to win this.
Yes.
There'll be a few rebels. What happens to those rebels? We've already seen, Lee Anderson and Brandon Clark-Smith, both two of the many deputy chairmen of the Conservative Party. There are 9 of them. They're probably getting by there. But again, certainly with Lee Anderson, famous name on the telly a lot, someone who was very much chosen as a deputy chairman, as a sort of the voice of the red wall. When he stands down to vote on these amendment issues, that's quite a statement. What happens to those people, or anybody who does actually go ahead and vote against this actual bill?
I don't think a huge amount. I mean, we've seen those 3 resignations yesterday, but the real issue and the real problem and the real worry in Number 10 and in the Whip's office, those who deal with discipline within the party, is momentum. You've got 3 resignations. You've got 50-odd, 60-odd people in the Conservative Party voting against this yesterday. How many people do it today, and what problems does this store up for the future?
Yeah.
It's a really, really interesting time, but yeah, the government will breathe a sigh of relief and probably have a glass of gin to say they've got this through this evening.
I've got the image of the gin now. Yeah, I don't even think tonic.
You're thinking gin.
I'm just thinking gin now. Lovely thought. Lovely thought. Chris Parry, you're still with us. We've been talking about this. We won't rehash your plan for dealing with this. Again, existential battle for Rishi Sunak's, I suppose his authority in government, and yet no one really thinks it's going to do anything.
As Peter said, it's about political survival. It's not about stopping the votes.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. I mean,
that's when the voters get a bit, funnily enough, a bit fed up.
And, we're moving from the pantomime season to the voting season, and nobody's got a good plan for dealing with it.